It wasn't a trans person in the wrong bathroom. It wasn't a undocumented dad washing dishes in the back of a diner. It sure as hell wasn't a drag queen reading picture books at story hour on Saturday mornings. It wasn't a librarian or that book about gay penguins. And it certainly wasn't a rainbow flag in the classroom window. No, it was the assistant majority leader of the West Virginia House of Delegates, a social studies teacher, in his own classroom. David Elliott Pritt, P-R-I-T-T with two T's, a Republican in Fayette County, 36 years old, assistant majority leader of the West Virginia House Republican Caucus, a social studies teacher at Oak Hill High School, which also happens to be his alma mater. And the federal charge filed in the Southern District of West Virginia, enticement of a minor. The complaint says it started on Roblox. She was in the 8th grade. And the complaint says it moved to Snapchat. It says that he told her that he loved her. It says that he asked her to meet him in the classroom at the school. And he kept messaging her right up until this month, when her family walked into a police station on July 9th. And I'm not going to read you any of the rest of the details, but the affidavit is public. It's in the description, but man, is it disturbing. And by the way, if you have been the victim of any type of abuse of this nature, RAINN.org, RAIN with two N's.org, check them out. But back to March. Last night of the legislative session, clock walking toward midnight, a bill called Rayleigh's Law. It's about to die. And it's named for Rayleigh Browning, an 8-year-old, who was pulled out of a public school, which meant no more teachers, nobody left in her life who was legally required to report what they were seeing. She passed away in 2018 of abuse and neglect. And the bill would pause a withdrawal like that while an abuse investigation is open. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the entire bill. And yet, it's the 4th year in a row that they've tried it. And it's died. And on that floor that night, this man was the one who stood up and begged the room. We have an opportunity here tonight to do something to protect children. Midnight hits, the bill goes away, and there's a photograph from that night. That man at his desk, head down, hands folded, just flattened. Looks like he's asleep or crying at his desk because that bill didn't pass. Hypocrisy. And I will give West Virginia Republicans this. The Speaker stripped that man of his legislative roles the same day and called on him to resign. The state party chair called it shocking, sickening, and deeply disturbing. That's the correct way to handle this. But I'm not doing this story because a politician got arrested. I'm doing it because what that legislature has actually been spending its hours on instead of passing laws that will actually protect children. Rayleigh's Law has now failed 4 years in a row. It's narrow, it's cheap, it's unglamorous, and it has died every year, 4 years in a row. You know what didn't run out of clock in that same building? The Riley-Gaines Act, which defines a man and a woman in state code. Bathrooms. That's the governor's #1 priority bill, signed last March with a press event and a guest of honor. It cleared their House 90-8. And a bill that would keep one adult's eyes on a kid in an open abuse investigation can't get across the finish line 4 years in a row. And that is a choice. That is a legislature that decided which children it was interested in protecting. The wrong bathroom. Look, these people built an entire political industry on the idea that the danger to your kid is a librarian, a drag brunch, a rainbow sticker in a classroom window, a parent taking their kid into a bathroom. And that machine has been running at full power for 4 years, 10 years even. And it has scanned every shelf in every school library in this country. And according to the federal government, it didn't catch the assistant majority leader. All of that panic. And I want to ask you guys something. In your state, what's the last law that they passed that genuinely made kids safer? I'm not talking bathrooms or books. I'm talking about a law that put human beings between a child and the thing that's harming them. Name it, because I want to know. I would like to know where they exist. And you know, this hypocrite, this man named Pritt, he wrote an op-ed, by the way, in the fall of last year about why child welfare was his issue. He said in that op-ed, "We are our brother's keeper. That is what our faith teaches us. That is the Christian way." He wrote, "I have a vote and I have a letterhead, and I'm going to start using them." By the way, per that federal complaint, the alleged conduct with this child began in May of 2025. Put those together. And the only reason that you know any of this is that a 15-year-old girl's family walked into a police station with nothing to gain, and finally a reporter in a small West Virginia outlet actually read the affidavit and filed a report on it. Independent media like that and like us survives on your interactions, your likes, your comments, your shares, all of it. Do it here, and do it for those tiny outlets in your state that nobody bothers to cover. They're the reason that stories like this don't quietly go away.